Cam Ward and Travis Hunter. Speaking of Cam Ward, when it comes to the Titans, head coach Brian Callahan not making any promises that he will indeed be their starting quarterback, even though they did take him first overall. Will Levis most recently holding the title of starting quarterback there in Tennessee. But those hopes and expectations falling a little bit short. Cam Ward already showing off his leadership skills, reaching out to his new teammates via social media and text. Here's more from head coach Brian Callahan.
Yeah, well, they'll have plenty of opportunities. How those reps get shaken out will sort of be determined by how they perform when given opportunities. That part of it's been thought out. We have a plan in place, and what that looks like is going to ultimately be sort of up to them, you know, and how their performance goes when there's time to perform. So, feel good about the process and the plan in place, and there's going to be plenty of reps for those guys to compete and get better and improve and be ready to play in September.
Jayden, I love a little bit of coach speak there from Brian Callahan talking about his quarterbacks. I mean, look, you take this guy #1 overall. Clearly, he should be your starting quarterback, which also does bode the question, what do they do about Will Levis?
First and foremost, Amanda, Brian Callahan needs to stop capping. We know Cam Ward is going to be the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. You take a guy #1 overall. When's the last time a #1 overall pick literally had to wait and play? It's been rare in most recent years. #2, you talked about Will Levis. If I'm the Tennessee Titans, I'm trading him. Let's not forget Brandon Allen is on the roster. He was with Brian Callahan when he was in Cincinnati, so he knows the system. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Los Angeles Rams, you should be calling the Tennessee Titans for Will Levis. Let's not forget he's only going into his 3rd year. He has all the intangibles. His issue is turning it over at unopportune times. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, right now, you're in Aaron Rodgers' world. You don't know if he's going to show up, when he's going to show up, if he ever shows up. I would call the Tennessee Titans to see about Will Levis.
I still say we need TMZ on Aaron Rodgers, stalking him to force him to make a decision. As Chris mentioned, former Jet Shedeur, the Jets dropping a new Justin Fields workout video. I love it because the guy catching the ball is former college teammate Garrett Wilson. So they posted this on social media. I went to their Instagram, Lige. Some of the comments are excited. Most of them are like, love it, prove it to me. I have heard this before from the New York Jets.
That's the video? This is it?
This is the workout video that our producer was very excited about.
I was expecting a lot more.
Does this video excite you, Lige? How are you feeling about your Jets right now with Justin Fields and some of the moves they made in the draft?
I get some of the fans' angst, Amanda, because it's been 14 years. If I'm not mistaken, the Jets have the longest tenure of not going to the playoffs in the 4 major American sports. So I get them saying, prove it on the field. And the funny thing is, their head coach, that's kind of his mantra. He wants it quiet. Like for the longest, the last 2 years, everybody's been talking about the Jets. This is the first time in 2 years nobody is talking about the Jets. And I love it as a former Jet, right? You want to be able to put your head down and work and let your work on the field do everything for you, all the talking for you. So this is the first time in 2 years nobody's talking about the Jets, and this is exactly where the Jets should be. They're trying to build the right culture because they had issues last year in regards to guys maybe not playing with effort and tackling woes. So like, I love the, workout video, but it's all about putting your head down and working and proving it on the field.
What do you mean no one's talking about the Jets? We're talking about
They're
the
really
Jets.
not. I mean,
I could Google the Jets right now and come up with like 12,000 articles on them.
Well, man, you got to think about it. We were dealing with Aaron the last 2 years. Has it not been relatively quiet compared to the last 2 years?
All right, I'll give you that much. Think what you want. I appreciate it, Shedeur.
Justin Fields' former team, the Steelers, have, they've got some quarterbacks, but they don't have a bona fide quarterback because they're still waiting on Aaron.
Call the Titans, apparently.
To make his decision. As of now, the quarterback room consists of Skylar Thompson, Mason Rudolph, and 6th-round pick Will Howard. But no quarterback room is as wild as Cleveland's. They've added Shedeur Sanders. They brought back Joe Flacco. Also drafted Dylan Gabriel. They traded for Kenny Pickett. And Deshaun Watson's still on the roster. He's just recovering from yet another injury. We have been going division by division, grading every team's off-season moves. We hit the AFC North today. And Tyler Sullivan is going to be handing out the grades. We are going to start with the ever-interesting Cleveland Browns, who I think get an A+ for interest. I mean, I want to hear about them. I want to see them on Hard Knocks and all that stuff. But what do they get for what they've done on the field, Tyler?
Yeah, I give him a C+, and it's like a bad version of the Brady Bunch in that quarterback room, right? You're talking about the old head and Joe Flacco. You have Kenny Pickett, who is just kind of weirdly sitting around. And then when they brought in Dylan Gabriel at the NFL draft, you're like, okay, here it comes. They're completely out on Shedeur Sanders. And you get to the 5th round, and all of a sudden, who's the pick? It's Shedeur Sanders. The whole thing is just absolutely confusing. And to me, it says that they're kicking the quarterback decision down in 2026. Yes, they did bring in Shedeur, and that's the guy that everybody was thinking pre-draft could be their answer long-term. And sure, possibly that could be it if it plays out that way. But ultimately, the actions of the Cleveland Browns tell you that they don't view him as a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL. If they did, they would have taken him in the 2nd round or somewhere in day 2. Who knows? Maybe even in the 1st round if they really wanted to after they traded down. But overall, this team is building for the future. They're adding on defense and Mason Graham with the number 5 overall pick. They're gaining assets by trading down. Overall, this team is not necessarily a contender in 2025. They're looking more towards 2026 and 2027.
The next team always feels like they're a contender. They never have a losing season. They're always in the mix. They always seem to overperform. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. The question is, how can you even assess a grade at this point when the Aaron Rodgers question is still out there?
Yeah, exactly, right? I almost want to give him an incomplete here. I'll give him a C+ because overall, I do like what they were able to do. They finally were able to find a wide receiver, trading for DK Metcalf, signing him to that massive contract. But overall, who's throwing him the football? We're still sitting here in Aaron Rodgers purgatory, so it doesn't really matter what this team does. It doesn't matter if you go get DK Metcalf. It doesn't matter if you're making strides on the defensive side by drafting Derek Harmon, or you're kind of, you're getting Jack Sawyer late, who I really liked in the draft. If there's no quarterback here, and right now it's Mason Rudolph, who, I'm sorry, that just does not get me excited. That is the same scenario that you were in a season ago where you could barely get to 20 points per game, couldn't do it down the stretch. None of these additions really matter. So as much as I want to give them a higher grade, because I do like overall what they were able to do in certain respects, I just can't get excited about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now because I don't know who's going to be under center. We don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. He's liable to sign with them the second I get off here, or he's liable to take this into week 10 somehow, and we still don't have a decision from him.
It's the first day of May. The very first preseason game is the last day of July, the Hall of Fame game. Let's go to the Cincinnati Bengals, who did what they could on offense. They brought back Chase on a big deal. They brought back Higgins on a big deal. But offense hasn't been the question. The question's on D, and there's still a big question mark for their best player on defense.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I give him a C here, and that's kind of crazy, right? Because you're like, okay, they signed T.